Howdy guys, welcome to my channel. Got a brand new video for you today. I returned the last HP Omen. It appears that I got a defective one, so I didn't decide to get another HP Omen because obviously if there's an issue with the one that I bought, there might be an issue with more. So I went out and got the Dell G7 17-inch. I've never gotten a 17-inch laptop before, so this is, I'm excited for it. I don't know if I'm gonna like the size of it. I've never played on a machine that's 17 inches before, so I think it's gonna be interesting. What caught my eye is the RGB in the new updated model this year for the 2020 G7. So it is the 17-inch with a 300 hertz panel, RTX 2070 non-max Q, and a 512 gigabyte NVMe PCIe SSD, and 16 gigs of RAM at 2933, expandable up to 32 gigs of RAM. There's a lot of port selections. There's Thunderbolt, HDMI, and a full SD card reader. So let's get to the unboxing. Box is pretty lame. Just it looks like a cardboard box. So yeah, so I was kind of upset after the Omen, so I went out, got this one. There's no reviews on this yet, so I'm hoping that, you know, I get a lot of views on this. So please go ahead, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the amount of views that I've been getting the last few videos and subscribers. You know, my channel's really grown a lot, and I'm excited that, you know, I get people to ask me, hey, can you unbox this computer? Yeah, I'll see if I can get my hands on it. So this looks it's like a very cheap, minimal, you know, just very simple unboxing. It's not going to be fancy. So first things first, this is 17 inches, and I'm going to say it does feel thin. So it's not super thick. The Alienware felt a lot thicker than I had. So I know that on this new G7, the Alienware Command Center is what's going to be supporting the gaming temps, thermals, and RGB center for gaming. But let's go ahead and open this bad boy up first. Ooh. Yeah, this is, I mean, it does feel pretty hefty, but someone like me that, you know, I'm not really taking my computer anywhere. The reason I like gaming laptops is that I can, you know, play in my bedroom, play in my, you know, in my office, on the kitchen table, living room, or wherever I'd like. I just took out the wrapping, and the first thing I'm gonna say is that this feels a lot like the Alienware M3 that I unboxed. The hinge and the way that they put a lot of the ports in the back, I love, because it gets it out of the way for when you're gaming. So now that we're talking about ports, let's go ahead and show you guys what selection do we have. So in the back, so when you're gaming, what are your first selections? So let's check them out. You have Thunderbolt 3 right here, boom, important. You got a mini display port, HDMI, USB, and Ethernet. So that's awesome to see that you got all those options in the back, so you don't have to worry about having cables in the way when you're gaming. The one bad thing about this side now though is that you got the power cord on the left side, and I guess it sucks if you're a left-handed gamer. Luckily I'm right-handed, so I don't have to worry about the power cord being over here, but it's just something to, you know, consider when you want to game. If you're a lefty, Dell doesn't care about you. So you got power and USB right here, exhaust vent, and headphone jack. So USB, headphone jack, power cables. Man, this other side right here, you got USB and a full-size SD card reader. So that's great. A lot of good ports, a lot of great, you know, 2 exhaust vents here on the sides near the top, and a big exhaust back here that's going to blow out heat. They did update the cooling this year, as I think this is the year of, you know, all the companies are deciding to improve their thermals on their computers, because most of the computers that I've unboxed this year, their thermals have increased significantly over the prior year models. So that's great to see that, you know, hey, if we're going to be making gaming computers, we should improve our thermals. Let's see if this passes the one-handed test. So, ooh, it does. That's awesome. That's very important to me. If you can pass a one-handed test, that's like a A+ already. Oh man, guys. So I'm just feeling this trackpad for the first time. I tell you right away that it's glass. This is a very nice feeling trackpad. It feels cold because it's glass, not because it's plastic. So awesome. You get a full keyboard pad. On the right, you get the full numeric pad. So that's nice to see. I don't know why, but some people care about how, to what degree does the computer screen open up to. So let's check it out. So that would be right there, about 90 degree. So there it is. So if you care, I don't know what degree that is. I'll make up a degree. 135 degrees. It does go back more than I would think I would ever use, but I know some people like when they fold a whole 180 degree flat. I personally don't care for it. I think this is more than enough. Most of the times where I'm gaming, I need it at about 100. It is all plastic. That's one bad thing about this. If you care about it, and actually now that we're here, let's check the screen flex. There's quite a bit. It's nothing too crazy, and the reason why I think there's a little bit of screen flex is because the hinge is in the middle, which can create a little bit of flex. So I could feel it right away. It's not that bad. It still feels sturdy. It feels very sturdy if you're lifting it from the middle. Obviously, if you're going to lift it from the sides, it's going to not be so hot. So there is a little bit of flex here in the middle. It gives in because it's a bigger chassis, so when you're pushing in, there's a lot more give on this versus a 15 or 13 inch. Let's go ahead and check out the keys before I turn it on. Actually, these keys feel very nice, guys. I'll tell you that I don't see any infrared sensors for hello, and I don't see any fingerprint scanner, so I'm assuming it's just going to be a numeric code or a PIN or a password to sign in. So before we power it on, continue with the unboxing. So let's get to the power brick. Here it is. I'm assuming this is the same 240 watt power brick that was in the M3 and correct, 240 watts. So it's huge, it's massive. I hope you don't plan on hauling it around anywhere. I'll compare it to my iPhone SE for reference. Here's the brick. It's a massive power brick. And we have also the power cable that goes into the wall. And we do have paperwork, and that's it. So computer box is empty. Very simple, very simple, very plain unboxing. There's not much with this. Like I said, it's not like you're not gonna get a great unboxing experience with this Dell. Ooh, guys, I didn't know they had this RGB down here. That looks sick. Guys, that is very beautiful. Ooh, beautiful. I don't think I've been impressed so much on a startup as I am now, because that is awesome. You know, usually I say I don't care for RGB, but this little bar right here it took me by surprise. Trackpad, it is buttery smooth. I haven't felt something so responsive or responsive as this in a while. It's been a long time. Great job on Dell for using this trackpad. I'm in love with it. And I did want to show you guys the speaker test. So the speaker is currently at 40%. Let's double check. So speaker test at 40%. We'll start my last video. Howdy guys, Yumi here. Got a brand new video for you today. I went out to Best Buy
so 40
near me and I picked up one of the
take it up to 50
models. There's a lot of different variations of it. I think in that
if we go up to 100,
they had 3 or 4 available. So I did go with the AMD Ryzen, the 4800 HS.
So guys, this is it actually sounds really clear and really loud. If you guys care to know what kind of backbleed we got, here it is. It's actually very minimal. I think you could see it a little bit more on the video, but when you're looking at it with the naked eye, it does not look at all terrible. I think this camera just picks it up a little better where the zones are coming from. This computer itself feels very much like the M15R3 that I reviewed in terms of battery life, performance, just the overall feel in the keyboard, touchpad, and navigating around the computer. Obviously when you're using the command center, I'm already accustomed to this from spending some time on the M15R3. The RGB keyboard. It's a 4-zone keyboard. Let's see what the thermals are on idle. No apps running, nothing. So we can look at the Fusion, and the current temperature is 83. So it's going between 70s, the low 70s to the low 80s on the CPU, and the GPU looks like it is running at a 56 on idle, which is kind of weird. I don't know why it's running. I'm going to show you my settings first so you guys can see what settings I'm playing with graphic wise. So 300 hertz panel, 2070 full speed non-max Q. The render resolution has to be 100, so it renders at 1920 by 1080. I do disable such like VSync and NVIDIA highlights, stuff that are unnecessary for game performance. All other, like in terms of graphics performance for the game, are going to be set to high. And I'll scroll down. I do not enable ray tracing because it's unnecessary for performance for competitive first-person shooter games. And I do disable weapon blur, motion blur, and depth of field because it creates a blur, and for competitive games you do not need that. So as we're about to load in, I'm going to show you guys what the thermals are looking like. This is on both balanced power and balanced thermal fans. So we're hitting a high 90 degrees Celsius on the CPU and a okay 66 degrees. Actually, it's pretty good so far prior to the game starting. 66 degrees on the GPU. Obviously it's not being used yet, so that's okay, but it looks like the CPU might be an issue under these balanced thermals. So I'm hitting a constant high 90 degrees Celsius on the CPU and a 76 degrees on the GPU. This is with the balanced thermal. So let's turn it up to performance and see if that increases the or improves the thermals. I think right now, while the keyboard and anywhere around the WASD keys, it feels relatively cool. These are pretty high temps for a gaming computer, especially a 17-inch like this. I think these computers, while they're not undervolted or anything, they should be performing better. So under performance, we're actually still on the 90s in the CPU and low 70s for the GPU. So the GPU seemed to get a little cooler, but the CPU is still running very hot. So overall, I think it's a good computer if what you're looking to do is strictly gaming. I think the biggest letdown on this was the thermals. It's a bigger frame, so I feel like you should be getting better temps. That 95 degrees Celsius on the CPU is not something you should be hitting on this computer. I know you can go ahead and undervolt it, but then you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of performance. And I know other computers get better thermals without having to undervolt, so I'm not sure what's going on. And I know the Alienware M3 R3, which used the same software in a smaller form factor and had a bigger 2070 Super, not bigger, but better performing graphics card, actually was able to maintain the computer a little cooler. Fans got a lot louder than this one, but it was able to keep up with better thermals. You're not getting this for battery life. The battery life, I meant to get it on video, I couldn't. This has a 97 watt-hour battery, but it actually lasted just over 2 hours, which is actually right on par with or worse than the M15 R3. It is a bigger battery at 97 watt-hours, but I think the drain on this it drains a lot faster. In the NVIDIA control panel, I made sure that anytime the computer is using the integrated graphics as the default, and then not to use the GPU unless it's for something extensive like gaming. So I made sure that
only the GPU is running on these apps, such as gaming. So I don't know why the battery sucks on this Dell G7 Alienware. I think they don't really care for battery life, and they're trying to push for better gaming performance. You can't literally go anywhere without your power brick. If you're trying to use this for school, it's not something you're going to be able to do. You got to bring your power brick with you, and it being a 240 watt power brick, it's not something that's just throw in your bag and let's go. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you. Peace.